I didn't say it would be easy, Neo.
And this is in the interest of Arias minor children, non-custodial party being Raphael, Arias Charles, custodial party being Michelle Vwart. And this matter before the court on a super modification of child support and motion to confirm arrears with a counter petition by Mr. Bradbury and his client, Mr. Arias Charles. At this time, the court will note for the record, all parties are present, the state's present, the guardian ad litem is present, the mother is present, and the father is present with counsel. So at this time, I ask the state for an opening and tell the court what the state requesting we do here today, what you understand the agreements and contests to be at this time. Then I'll take an opening from Mr. Bradbury to tell the court what he's asking, or he understands those circumstances for, or what he's asking for in his pleadings. Then I'll let the ad litem make an opening statement as what she's requesting for her clients. Ms. Vwart, I don't let pro se litigants make opening statements. They usually end up making some type of argument or closing statement or something along those lines. But at the end of the hearing, ma'am, if you do want to make a closing statement or a closing argument, you'll be allowed to do so as your own legal rep. So at this time, I'll ask the state to start it out and tell the court what the state is requesting we do here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. So first, Your Honor, I need to apologize for not understanding my agency's financial system better. I think
I'm sorry. I've been doing this for 20 years and nobody, I don't think even Rick Rindle knows how this works, and he worked there longer than anybody in that office in the history of that office. So yeah. So.
Well, I'm working towards, I guess, functional knowledge, and maybe that's even asking too much, but that's what I'm shooting for, Your Honor.
Well, if they just adopt an Excel spreadsheet and maybe this will all make that way the universe can tell you how everything works. But because you use that proprietary item or method, then yeah, it's problematic, sir. Don't worry about it. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, unfortunately, it might impact what the court does today, and that's the reason I'm apologizing, Your Honor. So my request, Your Honor, is that we take a judgment as of September 30th of 2023. Either as a further temporary order or as a final order in any issues that arise between October, well, not any issues, but with regard to confirming the arrears, anything between October the 1st of 2023 and going forward, we resolve another day. And I think the court, there might be reasons to go either way, and either would work for me, Your Honor. The reason for that, Your Honor, there was the Corio case was never closed out in the state's financial system, and getting a judgment would have achieved that. And so in the future, I would probably ask for a judgment, but I didn't know to ask that. So that's the first request, and then I believe there's going to be the father's attorney is going to be moving for possession credits. So I asked the court to make a ruling on possession credits as of September 30th, whatever the evidence whatever the evidence shows. And then I believe also the father's going to be asking for unreimbursed medical. And so I would ask the court to make a ruling on unreimbursed medical September 30th, 2023 and prior. And other than that, I guess I would ask that I don't take a position on the custody issues, and I think there was a ruling on the current child support. I believe that was correct. I'd ask the court not to disturb that. The ruling from the temporary order on March the 13th, Your Honor. And that's all I have, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Cusack. You're muted, ma'am.
You'd think I'd have that down by now, but every single time, since it automatically mutes me, I just don't really think about it. But Judge, there are two kids involved in this part of it. It's there's Xavier is 16, or that's what I have in my notes. I'm not sure. I'm sorry.
He's 17.
Turned 17 this month. I saw that.
Yeah. Okay, 17 this month. Okay, thank you. So he's at Killeen High School. I've spoken with him. He is primarily with his dad at this point. There is alleged to have been an incident between mother's boyfriend who lives in the home and Xavier. And so everyone agreed that Xavier would stay with father, including mother at the time. And so I would ask for that to remain the case. And when I say there was an incident, the incident involved a physical altercation between the boyfriend, Brian, and Xavier, who is 16. Was 16 at the time. He may have been, actually, it was 2022. So it's been a little bit, but he was a teenager. And so there was a physical incident which has created a potential criminal situation, and that one was going to be resolved, I think, before this point, but I don't think it has. I think it's been moved to maybe August. So I would ask that that Xavier stay with his father, and that the visitation between Xavier and his mother. Xavier is interested in reaching out at some point, but obviously this Brian Florence could not be around. He would like to meet with his mom maybe every few weeks, maybe for lunch. And he would pick a spot and either text her or get in contact with her. When I spoke to her before, she did not want to push issues with Xavier. I don't know if she has a different stance today, but that's where she was when we spoke previously. As to Nyalisa has recently lived more with mother, but has expressed an intent to want to live with father. So I have spoken with Nyalisa, and she's very verbal. She's very good at getting her point across. We have a hearing this afternoon, Judge, at 3:30 to confer with the child, and you'll be able to meet her, not a hearing, but a conference at 3:30 in person to meet with Nyalisa. And so I don't know if the court remembers that or not, but she'll be able to convey her stance at that point. I would ask that father be named the primary custodial parent, that mother have standard possession order visitation, that for this summer, that the summer possession doesn't start because mother has just had primary custody up to this point. And then there's a number of injunctive items I would like to discuss. I could go through some of them now. I would probably go through more of them with Nyalisa, but they are kind of standard Children's Bill of Rights injunctive language, including not being hit, and specifically if the court, wants to still allow some sort of corporal punishment, specifically not being hit in the face. That has been an allegation, an issue for her. And then no drinking or drugs, obviously in possession of the child. No disparaging comments, that kind of the typical injunctive language. So that's what I would request on behalf of my kid clients. And when we talk to Nyalisa, you'll see that this is pretty important to her. She's pretty anxious. She's an anxious kid. But she's also very good at getting her point across. Very verbal. I have 10 pages of notes with my different meetings with the kids. More with Nyalisa. And that's what I have, Judge.
Okay. I'll let you have some questions later on. All right. Mr. Bradbury.
Good morning, Your Honor. I represent the father, Mr. Raphael Arias Charles. It's been stated today that, both children want to live with the father. We are asking that he be the primary conservator in this case. There was a testimony introduced last time that the father had placed the children in therapy, and mom had, he thought mom might have had something to do with taking the children out of therapy. We're asking for the exclusive right to make psychological decisions in this case. In terms of visitation, my client would echo Ms. Cusack's request. However, he is requesting an injunction keeping Brian Florence away from these children. He's facing felony injury to a child, the older child in this case. A case is set in August. It's been reset a few times. It's a jury trial. And he's facing a revocation of his deferred for burglary of a habitation with the intent to commit theft, Your Honor. And so there have been altercations, verbal altercations. This was testified about in the last hearing in March between Mr. Florence and my client. Mr. Florence does not need to be present for these exchanges. That's potentially going to lead to something that would be very upsetting because Mr. Florence is an aggressive man. And Your Honor, my client testified last time that mom had slapped the little girl in the face. We are echoing the request for no corporal punishment of any form in this case. As to child support, Your Honor, my client, he is ready to finalize this case. Mr. Diamond has described what has happened between Corio County and this county as two vines growing in two different directions. I think there's been some overlap. The charts I've reviewed are confusing, but we are asking for some possession credit today, Your Honor, for two reasons. One, my client has had possession of Xavier, the older child, since January of 2022. That was testified about last time, and I didn't really hear any conflicting evidence there. And then furthermore, we have requested, I think we offered Exhibit 6 last time, Your Honor. It was an orthodontics bill, and mom's half of that would have been $2,688.25. And that has not been paid by Ms. Vwart to reimburse my client. So we're asking for that to be reflected in any kind of judgment, Your Honor. As to, I think, right now, the payment charts are confusing. Mr. Diamond did suggest that there are $15,927.63 on hold with the financial department with the OAG. And so
that is my understanding, Your Honor.
Whatever judgment we have today, and of course we're asking for possession credit, but we just want to make sure that money doesn't get lost in the fold, and that money, if it is awarded to mom in the form of a judgment, that get paid when we do fix these numbers. And Your Honor, we're willing to move forward with the judgment as of September 2023. Mr. Diamond suggested maybe we could stipulate that my client's not precluded for seeking possession credits in the future after that. However, my thought is maybe we just have a date by which to clear up the numbers in this case too, if that would work, and we could get a final judgment as to custody today, and we just have a week or two to, send in updated numbers if that could work, and maybe have a status here on that. I don't know what the court wants to do, but my client is ready to move forward. He's ready for both of his children to live with him on a primary basis.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm going to need some clarification from all sides here. I've been looking over the court file, and I see there's been a history of the county judge awarding writs of habeas and writs of attachment for unauthorized keeping of the children. And obviously that's going to factor in any decision made here. And I need to get some background on that. Again, that was heard by the county judge and not me, but I do see that there's a writ of habeas is in here and a writ of attachment for failure to abide by the writ of habeas. So again, that I probably need to build into any timeline before I can make a proper decision on the possession credits. Okay.
Understood, Your Honor.
All right. Anyway, go ahead and 2 seconds. Is that a live? I don't have a Zoom thing for that this afternoon. Is that a live or a Zoom?
That was actually going to be in person, Judge, unless
right. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. I just want to make sure. I remember it being in person. I see something. I guess I may have just put that up there to make sure I didn't. I have to go over that. Zoom for the time frame. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
if I lose this, we've been having trouble with internet over here ever since the storm. And if I lose, I'll try to get back in as soon as possible. Okay. All right. But anyway, if you see me gone, just stop and I'll try to get back in. I got a MiFi thing lying around here. See if I can get that to work too. So anyway, let's go ahead and I'll let the state go ahead and call your first witness at this time, please. Thank you. I'm sorry. I need both witnesses. Ms. Vwart, you need to turn on the video, ma'am, and unmute yourself, and I'll need both of y'all to raise your right hands so I can swear you in. All right, do you both solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give here today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, you're both officially on the oath, and I'll let the state to call your first witness, please. You can begin now, folks.
Your Honor, if it pleases the court, I would offer Exhibit 1, and then I would ask if I may defer the rest of my case to, because I believe I'm just going to be asking questions as it relates to the possession credit, but I'd rather hear what Mr. Charles has to say first before I start asking questions.
All right, then this is state's exhibit number 1. It's the financial activity report, the long one. The state's exhibit number 2 starts looks like in 2023, and this one goes up till then, correct?
And begging your pardon, Your Honor, I would just offer States 1 if it pleases the court.
Okay. All right. So it's States 1. Any objection to States 1 coming in at this time, Mr. Bradbury?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Kusak?
No, Judge.
All right, Ms. Vwart, any objections to this coming in evidence, ma'am?
No.
All right, Stage 1 admitted. You may. And I'll go ahead and let Mr. Bradbury call his first witness then, and then, of course, the state and Ms. Kusak will be allowed to cross-examine. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, at this time, I'll call Ms. Vwart.
Mm-hmm.
All right, ma'am, please state your full name for the record.
Michelle Yvette Swart.
Thank you.
Your Honor, before I begin with questioning, I would ask that the court take judicial notice of the file. Last hearing, we actually offered and introduced several exhibits, and I wanted to know if the court had a copy of that. I think it was sent to Ms. Morales, Ms. Belinda Morales.
I got the list of the items I let into evidence, but I don't think the clerk sent them back with the file at this time. So, but it's which items are you trying to bring back up, sir?
Well, Your Honor, I would like to make sure that you have the exhibits to review to make your final decision that were admitted. I think last time your coordinator had been out of town. I didn't know if you had it in front of you. We were having to share a screen. I'm not bringing one up this second. I just wanted to make sure you actually received a copy at some point.
Just like I said, you would say?
Not too long. I do have.
All right. Sir. As long as they're not 100 pages long, yeah, I don't do the text messaging, but yeah, I share screens with that. But anything that's yeah, and she'll print them out. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Okay. Ms. Swart, good morning.
Good morning.
Can you please state your name for the record?
I'm Michelle Yvette Swart.
At the last proceeding, you testified that maybe you weren't working at the time. That was back in March. Was that true?
Yes, I'm not working.
Okay. And how long has it been since you worked?
I haven't worked since, I'd say, like the end of March, beginning of April. I was working a temporary job, but I'm not working anymore.
So at the last court proceeding, you were working a temporary job?
Yeah, it's like a temporary job. I was in and out, yes.
Okay. And how much did you make at that job?
Like 17 an hour.
And how many hours a week did you work?
40.
And it's actually fair to say, based off your testimony in March, that the jobs you've held since 2022, you've made a minimum of $17 an hour. Is that fair to say?
For temporary jobs, yeah.
Okay. And what is the most that you made at a temporary job?
27.
And how many months would you say you were employed in 2023?
2023? Barely at all. I barely worked at all. I think maybe I worked if that, maybe like 2 jobs.
Okay. One of those jobs was at PFG making $17.50 an hour. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the one I just started.
Okay. So you've had that role more than once?
No, I've only worked that job from December. I was working for actual PFG. I worked, what is it? February I started that.
And when is the last time you had a full-time job that was not a contract job?
Long time. When all this court stuff happened, I lost my job due to him kidnapping the kids and doing all the court stuff. So that was back in.
Ma'am, stop. Don't explain why.
Okay.
Just
I'm
tell
trying to think what it was like 2 years ago was the last time.
You also have a DWI.
I think it's 2022.
I'm sorry, I should have let you finish. So it was 2022, the last time you had a full-time job. What kind of jobs do you work?
Administrative.
Okay. And before 2022, what kind of jobs did you work?
Everything was administrative that I've worked.
And do you have any kind of diagnosed disability that keeps you from working? I mean, you're picking up contract jobs.
Yes, because I'm also dealing with court. It's hard to hold a full-time job when you have to keep taking off for court. So once everything's settled, I can go back to my normal routine and I can actually get a job where I don't have to take off all the time.
How many days have you actually been in a courtroom in the last couple of years?
Everything's on Zoom nowadays. It really isn't in the courtroom that much. I've been in the courtroom a lot. Between all 3 cases, I've been in the courtroom a lot in Belton.
You have a DWI pending, correct?
Yes, they're trying to drop that right now.
Okay, and you and we did not go into details of your arrest the last time we had a hearing, but that is still pending. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you have a court date in June next month, correct?
Correct.
And at the last proceeding, you testified that you were in a relationship with Brian Florence. Is that still true?
Correct.
And he is facing a felony right now. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that is an injury to your oldest child, Xavier. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, you testified in March that you believed your child inflicted his own injuries. Is that still your belief today?
Yeah. Yes.
So you believe that he put marks on his neck?
Yes, he said that right before he locked himself in the bathroom.
Objection hearsay, objection non-responsive, Your Honor.
Same. Again, just answer the question and then it will get the nation one way or the other as far as any other circumstance, ma'am. Thank you. All right, you may proceed then, Mr. Bradbury.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ma'am, do you recall Exhibit 3 at the last proceeding? It was a text message that you had sent to my client saying, if you make that report against him and me, I'm taking the kids, I'm leaving work and up and moving today. Do you recall that?
No, but apparently I guess I did. I mean, that was years ago, 2 years ago, I'm guessing.
So you do recall or no?
From what y'all said and what y'all showed that I did. I don't recall. That was 2 years ago. You know, in the heat of the moment when you're mad, you say stuff you don't mean. He said stuff too. That's just human nature. Have I moved? No.
I mean, does it stand out to you that you said if you make a CPS report against him, I guess that was Brian Florence, is that correct?
No, I don't know who you're talking about, CPS case.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think you've been a protective?
Yes. What
And you-
happened with him and my son has nothing. He's been around my daughter this whole time and nothing has happened.
Well, let's
Yeah,
talk.
we can't. Okay, so we can't explain what the situation.
Bam, Miss Wart. Here's the
I'm
deal.
sorry.
Listen to the question, answer the question, and stop. Don't try to add anything extra, man. You keep trying to tell the court the whole story, and that's not the way it works. I'll get the whole story, but we'll get
Okay.
it through the exam. Of course, the state's going to ask you questions, and Lamb's going to ask you questions, and then you can probably get that information out. But until you get, until you get to that point, listen to the question and just answer the questions that's asked, and don't try to add anything else to it. Thank you.
Okay.
May I proceed, Mr. Bradbury?
Ms. Ward, let's talk about what you actually just said. So you said that nothing has happened while she's been in the possession of Mr. Florence, but since the hearing in March, would it surprise you that your daughter has been left in the possession of Mr. Florence while he was smoking weed?
No, she has not.
So you're telling me that Mr. Florence would pass a drug test?
Yes.
What about yourself?
Yes, I did pass my drug test.
Would it surprise you that your daughter does not like the smell of weed?
Yes. She says it all the time.
Okay. And so you have no clue where she would have seen weed in your household?
I know I've caught my son smoking.
But he hasn't been in your household in a couple of years?
No, my oldest daughter used to smoke too. She doesn't smoke anymore. I can't be around my daughter 24/7 when she goes to her dad's house, so I don't know who he's around too, so I can't tell you. There's internet nowadays, kids know everything.
Ma'am, you said that you're a protective parent. You recall in the last hearing that you did admit that there was reason to believe, found that you had abused your child by CPS in 2022. Is that correct?
That there's reason to believe? Yes.
And that child was your daughter, and it was due to you slapping her in the face.
That's what the report says.
And you recall the pictures that we introduced into this courtroom. Is that correct?
Yes.
As to work in the future, I mean, have you applied for any jobs?
I have.
I think we lost the judge.
Yeah, we did lose the judge. I just got a note that I'm the host. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording till the judge gets back.
I'll put the next in for a second. Sorry. What, guys? I'm gonna go ahead and oh wow. All right. We only got about another 30 minutes on this one before I got to take up my next one, and I'm gonna go ahead and let's see if we can work. If we can power through this without me losing my internet connection. Okay. Let's go ahead and I'll let you proceed, Mr. Bradbury. I was going to see if I could switch over to another thing, but that would take too long. So let's go ahead and I'll let you proceed, sir.
You said I could go, Your Honor. I'm sorry. You were breaking out. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can.
All right, you may proceed.
Ms. Wart,
Mm-hmm.
do you think it's fair that you pay child support if both of your children were to go live with my client?
No.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Kuzak, your witness.
Thank you, Judge. Okay, so the reason to believe the CPS case that involved Nyalisa, and that's the one where she had a busted lip, right?
Yes.
So that one was found reason to believe that you had committed that act, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Have there also been some issues dealing with therapy? Did Nyalisa see a therapist for a while?
Yes.
Did both of the kids see a therapist, Aaron Moon?
Yes.
Did you have an issue with Aaron Moon?
No, I did not have an issue.
Did you disagree with the kids going to see Aaron Moon?
I said I would take Nyalisa. At first, yes, I did say that I had a disagreement. And then I went over there and spoke to him myself, and I agreed to take the kids. And then me and Mr. Arias had an altercation. He didn't think that I should take him. He think that he should take the kids. And that's when the counselor said that since we both couldn't come to agreement, that he was just going to cancel all visits.
So the kids, because you and Mr. Arias Charles did not agree on the therapist said that he could not meet with either one of you because you did not jointly consent to therapy, right?
Correct.
And you didn't say, okay, I do consent to therapy at this point.
After that, then no. We never went back to therapy.
And then you said, I said that I would be able to take Nyalisa to the therapist. Did you take her to the therapist after that?
No, I haven't, because after the last conversation we had with him was the kids weren't coming to therapy. And since we both couldn't come to agreement, I didn't think it was fair. I agreed to take her. He said no. They dropped us because we both couldn't agree. So therefore, I didn't try to take her again.
Do you feel that both of the kids would benefit from therapy?
Honestly, I don't even know.
Is Nyalisa an anxious little girl?
Anxious?
Yes. Does she have anxiety issues? She gets nervous, upset stomach, freaks out about things that maybe other kids might not freak out about.
No, I'd say she's normal. I mean, she freaks out normally like normal kids. That's what I think.
Well, I'm not saying she's abnormal, but would you say that when it comes to anxiety, she's a pretty nervous girl?
I can't go into detail, but if she says she is, to me, I don't think so. She's been over there long enough, and his wife has the same issues, and she's came back saying the same things as his wife. So if she says she did.
Have you taken her to another therapist?
No.
To let her.
No, because I don't think it's fair. I try to be fair when it comes to me and him.
Ma'am, again, the answer is no, and then stop.
No, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Did Xavian speak with that therapist as well?
From my understanding, yes.
Okay. Let's talk about the issue with Xavian first. So were you there at the beginning where they started arguing with each other? They meaning Xavian and then your boyfriend, Brian Florence.
Yes.
And so did Xavian say something to Brian that made him mad?
Did Xavian say no?
Okay, so then how did this start? Who said what?
How it started was getting his Xbox taken away. He had got his Xbox taken away for bad grades, so I had his dad keep it at his house. It was Christmas break. Brian said he felt bad, so he was going to let Xavian use his Xbox because he didn't want him to be at home with no Xbox. I said that's fine. He asked Xavian to do chores while I was away at work. Xavian was like, no, I'm not going to do it. So Brian told me when I got home. And after that, I told Xavian that he couldn't have the Xbox. And I told Brian to take it away from him. And that's when the altercation. But the night before, I had caught him smoking weed in the backyard at 3. So he was already in trouble with me. And I told him I was going to talk to him after.
Is this at this time, when you say you caught him smoking weed, did Brian also have weed in the house at that time?
No.
Does Brian have weed in the house routinely?
No.
Has Brian ever had weed in the house?
No.
He's never had weed in your
our house?
First,
no.
Yes.
No. Not in my house.
So if the kids say that Brian smokes weed, they're wrong.
Yes, of course. Of course they're going to say that. That's what Ralph and all them want them to say. That's this whole thing.
Miss Smart, Miss Smart.
I'm sorry. No, the answer is no.
There you go.
Okay. And then you've never smoked weed in the house. Is that
No.
correct?
Correct.
As far as the incident with Xavier, was there a point when it became physical?
Yes.
And how tall is Xavier?
I haven't seen him in a while. I mean, I know he's taller than me. He was taller than me. I'm short. I'm only 4'11".
How tall are you? Okay, I'm sorry. You're 4'11", you said?
Yeah. Yes.
So he was a little bit taller than you. Is he pretty thin? He's not like big muscle, right?
No, he was chunky at the time, but the last time I seen him, he looks tiny, skinny. Like
Okay.
very tiny. But when he
Okay.
lived with me, no, he was chunky.
At that time, how tall was Brian Florence?
He's not that tall either. I think Brian's like 5'3". He's tiny too.
How much does he weigh?
Brian?
Yes.
At the time, Brian was skinnier, so I don't even know. He was tiny.
How
Brian
old was he
tiny.
approximately?
This is like 3 years ago. So, let's see. 30. I think he was like 31.
Okay. So in his early 30s. We're not quite sure, but kind of close.
Yeah.
Okay. So at some point, did Brian restrain Xavier?
Yes.
Did he put him in a chokehold?
It was a light chokehold. It wasn't really like a tight chokehold, and he just brought him from the kitchen to the hallway.
So he put his arm around Xavier's neck and pulled him from one room to the other.
Yes. Correct.
And you don't think it's possible that those red marks on Xavier, you still maintain that Xavier did that to himself?
Yes, because the marks that I seen were scratches. And if he would have held him in a tight chokehold, Xavier would have had like a fixation mark going across. And even if Brian held him so tight, he wouldn't be able to get his nails down there and scratch himself.
Do you think that it's appropriate that a grown man put a child in a chokehold and drag them from one room to the other?
No, but what happened before was the only reason he did that is I told him to grab Xavier because Xavier started getting aggressive and violent with me and cussing and saying all types of crazy stuff. And that's the only reason why I told him to get him. I said, get him, take him to the other room. I did not tell him to choke him or anything. I just said, can you please get him?
And so at some point, Xavier removed himself from that situation and closed himself into the bathroom, right?
Yes, he had made a statement, said he was going to. Told Brian. Okay. Yes, he locked himself in it. Yes.
Okay. Does a teenage boy locking himself in the bathroom away from the adult sound like that child is the aggressor?
I'm sorry, you cut out. I couldn't hear you.
Does a teenage boy locking himself in the bathroom with you and your boyfriend on the outside, does that sound like a teenager who is being aggressive?
Not at the time.
Did he call Leilani at that point?
I did not know until later.
Who is Leilani to you?
My oldest daughter.
And so Leilani is the half sibling to the two kids in this suit, right?
Correct.
And she's an adult, right?
Correct.
And so you later discovered that Xavier had contacted his half-sister Leilani and asked her to come pick him up, right?
Yes, correct.
So she came to your house with, I think, her boyfriend at the time, right?
From what I heard, yes.
And then Xavier left at that time, right?
Yes.
Would you be surprised if Xavier feels that you did not have his back in that situation?
No, I would not feel surprised.
Do you understand that in an altercation between a child and an adult like that, and then your parent chooses to follow the boyfriend's version of events, that might have created a wedge that at this point may be irreparable between you and Xavier.
I understand.
Are you interested in trying to work on that issue with him?
I've been interested.
So if he wants to visit you, but only on a very, very limited basis, where maybe every couple weeks he contacts you and you guys go to lunch or something, where he can meet out in person without Brian being around, that you and he could at least be able to talk. If he instigates that, are you interested in pursuing that?
Yes, I've already told him that.
Are you interested in trying any kind of therapy with him?
Yes.
You have told me before that as far as Xavier goes and visitation and possession, that you don't want to force him to live with you, right? Are you
Correct.
is that still where you stand?
Correct.
Okay. As far as Nyalisa, we have talked about that issue before. You and I have met through Zoom. You indicated to me that you thought maybe Nyalisa wanted to live with her father, correct?
Yes. Because she wants to be closer to her brother.
Does she, I'm sorry, what?
She said she wants to live closer to her brother.
Okay. So, would you be surprised if Nyalisa said that she wanted to live with her father as the primary custodial parent?
No.
Okay. Do you and Nyalisa sometimes have disagreements about, about any number of things, including, have you talked to her about her weight before?
Yes, I have talked to her about her weight.
How old is she right now?
She's 10.
Okay. You were a 10-year-old girl. Is that kind of a hard time to deal with a parent talking about weight issues?
Yes. And I won't explain it till later, but yes, I'll.
Okay. If she told you that hurt her feelings, is that something that she maybe expressed to you at the time when you said those things?
Yes.
Have you ever told her that you wished that you had had an abortion?
No.
So she says that she's made that up.
That's what I'm hearing. She's saying, going around saying now. That's not what I said.
What did you say that maybe sounded close to that? Is there something she misconstrued?
Yeah, when I was mad one time, a long time ago, I told her, when she was talking about her dad and me, and I told her, your dad didn't even want you at the time, because I was older and I wanted a baby. He was younger than me. I wanted to have a baby before 30. And then when all this started, like I said, when we had a baby, I did tell her, I said, your dad didn't even want you. So I could have had an abortion if I wanted to. I said, I didn't. I'm the one that wanted you, not him. That was my exact word.
Do you feel that that's appropriate?
No, it's not appropriate. I was mad in the moment, and that's what I told her. When she said something ugly to me, and so that's when I turned around and told her that I love her very much, that he was the one that didn't even want her, and that I could have gotten an abortion. I never said I wanted to get an abortion. Never, ever did I say that.
So this is the second time you said I was mad at the time. Are there times when you get mad and you say things and you think about them later and you're like, that is not Parent of the Year award material?
Yeah, I think everybody does. Everybody gets mad and gets in their moment. Yes.
Yeah. Do you drink around Nyalisa?
Yes, I do drink around her sometimes. I don't drink all the time, but yes, I do.
Have there been times where there have been parties where Nyalisa called her dad to come pick her up?
A long time ago. Years and years ago when I first got single, yes, there has.
Okay. And so was that one of the issues where there was maybe a possession order issue, or like you did a capias or writ of attachment or something to get your child back from?
No, no, this was way long time ago. Like when we first split up, oh gosh, we probably been split. That was probably like 7 years ago when I first got single. Yeah, this is the very beginning of our separation. Me and Mr. Ari.
Would it surprise you? Would it surprise you to know that the drinking issue is a big concern for Annalisa?
No, because I keep hearing y'all talk about it.
Have you talked to Annalisa about it?
Yeah, I have.
Has she said she doesn't want you to drink?
No, she does not say that. She doesn't want me to get drunk or crazy or anything like that, but she has no problem with drinking, and I haven't. I've been in the house. I haven't been out. I don't go anywhere. I don't get crazy, belligerent drunk like I did years and years ago.
Do you feel that it would be appropriate for both parents to be prohibited from consuming alcohol around the kids?
I think it's appropriate for not just one parent to do it, for the other parent to do it as well.
Right, that was my question. If the court ordered both parents to not consume alcohol or drugs around the children, do you feel that that's appropriate?
Yes.
Do you also feel that it's appropriate if the judge issues an injunction, basically a rule against either parent hitting the kids?
Yes, that's appropriate.
Do you routinely tell Annalisa you're going to pop her in the mouth?
No, I do not.
You've never said that to Annalisa? You've never said, I'm going to pop you in the mouth?
I have. A long time ago when we were driving in the road, she got disrespectful with me, and I told her I was going to pop her in the mouth, that she should not talk to me and disrespect me like that. Yes, I have told her. I told her that was rude and disrespectful, and she shouldn't say that. She's going to get popped in the mouth. Yes, I did.
Did you ask her what you looked like in an outfit once? She said it was okay, and then you said you were going to pop her in the mouth for being disrespectful.
No, never. Over an outfit? No.
Okay.
There was only one time, like I said, where she said something disrespectful. We were in the car ride, and she got an attitude, and I told her, I said, that's disrespectful and rude. Okay. Do you want to get popped? My exact words were, do you want to get popped in the mouth? Stop talking that way. That's what I told her.
I pass the witness, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Cage, with this, Mr. Down, you there, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any questions of the witness, sir?
No, Your Honor, but maybe if I could come back to her. I'd really like to hear what Mr. Charles has to say as far as possession credits, and then maybe I would ask Ms. Vwart some questions if necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Your Honor, I might have a couple questions again.
Okay.
Ms. Vwart, would you say it was a voluntary decision for you to...
Mr. Bradbury says, sorry, sir, we lost the judge.
I couldn't hear what he was saying before. I think he said, okay.
But judge fell off.
All right. I'm back. Sorry, we're just still having a problem here. I hate to postpone or move this around, but I'm going to have to. Are you still, can you hear me?
Yes, sure.
Yes, Judge.
Yes, sir.
Apologies, but we're still having problems. I would have something with the phone. So anyway.
What did he say?
So again, apologies because I have to look at reset and I went do that. Okay, let me see what I got here. This is Wednesday. And that's booked tomorrow and Friday. And tell you what, Ms. Vwart, you're working right now, correct, ma'am?
Uh-huh.
Ms. Vwart? Okay.
I can't see you.
Okay. Can anyone hear me at this point?
Yeah,
You're coming in and out, Your Honor.
I'm gonna get some dates by email, see what we would to agree to time. Mr. Kuz actually don't want to do the one this afternoon. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, Judge.
This afternoon, 2:30. Let's see.
I have 3:30, Judge, but I will be glad
Okay.
to.
That's what I had a hold. I got a hold there for live. I could reset and set. All right, so I'll see y'all at 3:30. Okay.
Okay.
I'll do that, but I'll get you guys some dates back, and we'll see what we'll set up doing a reset. But like I say, I just keep losing it on and off, and well, it is what it is. It's not at least I got electricity now. So, all right, then I'm gonna let everybody go. Everybody try to remember the spot we're in, and like I say, I'm gonna try to find a spot. I'll look on a Monday and a Friday. Those are usually a lot more available. And I'll see what we can do. Anyway, and my apologies, but I'm just gonna have to go ahead and end this one because again, I'm gonna lose y'all in another minute, and we won't be able to get this done. So again, apologies, folks.
And Judge, on the Mondays and Fridays, I can only really do those if those are like a couple months out, and I would hope that we could try to get this done before the school changes.
Right. It's Wednesdays that you're available again, right? It's your best.
Correct, Judge.
That's why we did this one on this date.
Correct.
All
usually,
right, well,
Judge.
let me back that. I got to move somebody else and put y'all into a spot at this same time as we had today on an NMC. I'll do it, but I'll let you know about it. Okay, well, I'll get those over to you as soon as I can. Anyway, I'm trying to hurry up now before I lose you guys again. So I'm going to stop the recording and see what I got coming up. And Mr. Bradbury, if you can send over to Belinda by email, you have times available, sir, coming up over next, coming up in early July. Of course, I think the 4th is Wednesday, so that's going to blow that out the window. But anyway, and we'll see about getting, but I really want to try to get this done in June if I can. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This time I'm stopping the court. Everybody's free to go in. Apologies. I lost it. I lost it for an hour yesterday, but it came back strong, and now it's going out again today. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.